I know it's not super original, but it's the end of the year and we're going to talk about the best things in Magic the Gathering from 2023, and then later we're going to do the worst. Well, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. My name is Louie. I hope you're having yourself a fantastic day. And as we get through the holiday season, it's time to turn and look at the new year, New Year's Eve coming up. I want to evaluate and look at 2023 and give you my thoughts on what the best, the best things in Magic the Gathering are. We're not just focusing on sets. I want to talk about themes and ideas in the Magic the Gathering world. We're not going to just look at products. We're actually going to talk about the mechanics of the company and that kind of stuff that go into the whole ecosystem of Magic the Gathering. So thank you so much for being here. So first off, I want to get right into it. I want to say that the best thing of this year for Magic the Gathering, number one, I'm not going to make you wait till the end, number one was Lord of the Rings. And if you disagree, let me know in the comment section. If I miss things, let me know in the comment section. I'm very curious to hear your takes, but I think number one, the best thing in Magic the Gathering this year was the Lord of the Rings set, and I'm talking about the first Lord of the Rings set. We've talked about the negatives of having the second one on the channel a couple times, but I'm talking about just the first set that came out in the release. And do you remember the excitement, the hype, the energy that was in our community wrapped around the Lord of the Rings set? I'm not saying that that set was like the best set in the year. I don't even want to get into that, but I want to say that the excitement and what they managed to accomplish with that set was by far the best thing to happen to Magic the Gathering this year. From a store perspective, and that's, if you didn't know, I own a local game store, GameGrove.gg in Hurricane, West Virginia. It is pronounced Hurricane. It is spelled hurricane. Fun fact for you. But from a store perspective, this set was an absolute home run money printing machine, which is so good for the ecosystem of Magic the Gathering. The Magic the Gathering stores have to make money in order to provide you play space and all that stuff to hang out. And so from a store perspective, I felt like this was an absolute home run. From the consumer's perspective though, you also got a ton of value for what you were spending. This set was phenomenal. The commander decks were really good and fun and engaging in a confined space. The cards were powerful. We had the hype of the One Ring and the chase of the, the serialized cards. Everything they put into that release was really, really well done, and it generated a lot of excitement for stores and consumers, and it was really good. It also brought, that was for the Magic side of it, it also brought a new group of people into our community, which we saw for probably 2 or 3 months, a constant influx of people coming into the store and asking, hey, they're looking at Pokemon and they're like, hey, do you have any of that Lord of the Rings set for that Magic the Gathering game? And it did such a good job at widening the circle of the Magic the Gathering ecosystem, which is the best and really the only thing I like about Universes Beyond is the idea that Magic the Gathering gets to grow wider so that you and I have more people to play the game with, which is a huge, huge win. And that also, moved forward not just at a local game store area or at the kitchen table area, but it also grew as a content creator. In the wide space of content creation, we saw people making Magic the Gathering content because of Lord of the Rings. We saw huge streamers and a lot of, I guess you could call it mainstream support from people who aren't Magic the Gathering content creators doing and looking at this Magic the Gathering set, which is a fantastic thing for the game as a whole. Is a really good thing to see the growth of the community in that way. We saw XQC, I don't know him, I guess he's a YouTuber, a Twitch streamer. I'm old, so I don't watch that stuff, but the #1 Twitch streamer in the world, streaming Magic the Gathering box openings. Now, whether or not you think that's good for the game or not, it is good for the growth of the game. It is good for it to get in front of more people, which I personally think is a net positive. And since then, we've seen some bigger streamers and people coming to, from Twitch, coming to the YouTube community. Pay Money Wubby has been doing a bunch of YouTube content and opening some crazy boxes and things. And it's just been cool to see the community grow as a result of Lord of the Rings. And I think that's what makes it the number one thing for me this year, is that it made the community grow. So really, really big stuff. The second thing I think was a home run in the Magic the Gathering community and environment of 2023 is the de-evolution of the booster box and of the product line. And this is going to be a little bit of a hot topic. I think you may disagree or agree with me. Again, let me know in the comment section. But their announcement that they are moving to play booster boxes in 2024 with Murders at Karlov Manor, and their announcement that they are removing set boxes and removing draft boxes, in my opinion, is an absolutely amazing thing for the history of Magic the Gathering. I have done nothing on this channel. I have not complained about anything as much as I complain about the vast amount of products that stores have to buy and inventory and keep track of and order, and how much stress that adds onto the LGS when you're trying to figure out how many draft boxes do I need, how many set boxes do I need, how do I need to do prize support and all that stuff. It is an added burden. When they added the collector boxes and the set boxes and all this stuff, it made things more complicated. And to remove that and de-evolve that and make that a more simple approach with these play booster boxes, I think is going to do a really, really, really good thing for the community and for the game and for the accessibility for new players and all that kind of stuff. Now, I know that it costs more money from a perspective of a consumer to buy a booster box now, and you get more packs compared to draft packs or compared to set boxes and stuff like that. I do understand that, and I acknowledge that, and I do think that we will see what happens with that in 2024. I do want to acknowledge that. I don't want to just skip over that idea. It does cost a little bit more to open a full booster box now. My argument to that is that you're getting some more packs as well. So while it does cost a little bit more up front, your value is still kind of on a pack-to-pack basis, the same as a set box, in my opinion. But what it does, in my opinion, is it means that Wizards of the Coast is actually listening and then changing things. And keep in mind, it takes a long time for a company like Wizards of the Coast to change things. And before you just downvote the video because I said something positive about Wizards of the Coast, from a store perspective, this goes a long way. We have complained, we have verbalized as a community that the amount of products is too much. It's a strain on stores' wallet. Nobody wants the draft booster boxes after they play draft or limited format anyway, and it just causes a lot of confusion from the consumer perspective. People come in and they don't understand. If they've been involved in Magic the Gathering 20 years ago and they're here now, they just don't understand the differences of all the boxes. Even new customers, when they move from Pokemon or whatever other game to Magic and they look at it, they're just confused because there's too many options, and this simplifies it, and it's going to go a long way. You look in 2024, I bet you we are head over heels about play booster boxes. That's my prediction on where we feel about it in 2024. But the point for me is that it gives consumers and collectors and even players, in my opinion, confidence that Wizards is actually listening and that they actually are trying to make changes that the community and the game stores want. And now, before I harp on this too much, because I have done full videos on it, I do also want to say that I am a firm believer that the ecosystem is run in a lot of ways by store owners and that kind of perspective. When store owners have an easier time moving money, in other words, when we as store owners can have easier cash flow and it's easier for us to sell products, I'm not even saying making more money, but just easier to move product, it results in us buying more singles and the ecosystem moves better. Consumers get more value out of it if store owners and stuff can move things faster. So I think it's going to go a long way. All right, the last thing that I want to highlight here on 2023, and as we look into 2024, and before we do another video that's like the negatives of 2023, the last thing I think of is the commander decks this year were just really, really strong. Whatever teams, and maybe it's multiple teams, have been building these decks and curating these cards, they've done a really good job this year at building commander decks that people want, and adding cards into them that people want. We had, and we're going to get into the Commander Masters when we see the negative side of things, but we had Commander Masters that printed 10 new cards per deck. We had Doctor Who that had, I think, 50 new cards added to Commander per deck or something like that. We had an amazing Commander set in Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Lord of the Rings, I didn't even mention the Lord of the Rings Commander decks. The play experience for Commander decks, especially in a vacuum with Lord of the Rings and the Doctor Who stuff, were so much fun. And then additionally, even the standard set stuff, it generated so much excitement for the full set. They did a really good job at curating and creating Commander deck experiences that went a long way. And I didn't have any problem as a store owner sitting on Commander decks that were completely unmovable. You know, we over-ordered some things. We definitely had a couple of the decks that sold much faster than others. But from my perspective, on a wide range, there was a lot of excitement throughout the entire year, throughout every set, on Commander decks, and people wanted to engage in the hobby with those. And that's different than previous years where some of them kind of sat around and they just didn't seem that interesting or that much fun. And so I think if they can continue doing that into 2024, it's going to go a long way. What it does when the Commander decks are good is it engages the consumer in the hobby for that set. It engages you into, let's use Lost Caverns of Ixalan. You get to know the mechanics, and then it makes you want to go and play limited formats like draft or sealed. It makes you want to go and engage in opening up a booster box because you're enjoying the mechanics of the game. And so it almost acts like an advertising tool for stores and for Magic or whatever to go and further enjoy this set. So when the Commander decks are good, I think it goes a long, long way. And I personally feel like in 2023, they nailed a home run. They just absolutely hit the ball out of the park because it was such a good experience for all those Commander decks. So those are the three things that I think Wizards did best in 2023. Again, I'm very curious to hear what your perspective is on the other side of this camera, on the other side of the counter, because I would love to hear from that. Let me know where I was wrong, where you think I was wrong. Let me know where you think I was right. And then let me know some other things that maybe I missed that you think fit a little bit better in this whole world. If you're looking for product, looking for things, head on over to gamegrove.gg. I do have a Patreon and support there. It's going to get a little bit wild in 2024. I'm really excited to share with you guys some of the behind the scenes of what we're looking for in the Discord server and all that kind of stuff as we are seeing a lot more subscribers and growth on the channel. Thank you to everybody who's been here and who's continuing to be around. Remember to be kind to the people around you, and we'll see you again next video.